Hi?
We're looking for insurance.
Oh, let's see who's free.
Is your insurance agent trapped? Probably. When agents work for only one company, their options are simply limited. But a Trusted Choice independent agent is free to shop around to find you a better deal. Free to do what's right for you. Find an agent at trustedchoice.com.
Hi?
We're looking for insurance.
Oh, let's see who's free.
Is your insurance agent trapped? Probably. When agents work for only one company, their options are simply limited. But a Trusted Choice independent agent is free to shop around to find you a better deal. Free to do what's right for you. Find an agent at trustedchoice.com.
Hello, lacrosse friends. Welcome back to the 2018 FIL World Championships here in Netanya, Israel. I am Stephen Stamp, joined by Brian Silcott, fresh off a game where he was coaching, the head coach for Scotland, and you had a chat with the guys and went to the bathroom maybe? I don't know, you might not even have time for that.
Didn't have time for that.
You're up in the booth. Brian Silcott and I will be bringing you this game, and we're quite excited to be watching England and Canada, and pleased to see that it is on TSN Go. The announcement came out while the last game was going on. In the middle of your game, I saw the announcement that this game is available in Canada. Your game was actually against Australia, was available in Canada. A lot was added just today.
Excellent. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people in Canada watching. Now they love the lacrosse up there. Maybe the best lacrosse in the world going on up in Canada.
The English side obviously is going to be really hoping that they can retain the standing that they have had in the world, fifth at the last World Championships, and they would love to get back up and move past the Australians, have a go at the Iroquois Nationals. They also have to be watching behind them. Scotland, obviously you guys have your sights set on them. Israel has their sights set on all of you in the blue group. They don't care whose spot it is, they want to spot in the blue
They
group.
want somebody's spot. England has done a fantastic job, I think, in this cycle of really staying engaged throughout the 4 years since the last World Championships. Tom Wenham, the new head coach, has kept the team together, and it's really been an ongoing cycle for 4 years. They've played events, worked together, and picked the team over a long period of time, and they should be very well coached and very organized for this game.
Dylan Ward, the MVP of the 2014 World Championships, is in net for Canada to our right. They are wearing their white with the black and red trim and some pretty sweet buckets. The red top, black bottom, they're getting a lot of attention. On our left, the starting goalie for England is Will Baxter. And tall order for him to face this potent Canada club and with the reigning MVP at the other end, but you know he's going to be ready to try and show his best.
Yeah, Canada's offensive players are nothing less than outstanding at every single position. They could put 6 attackmen out there, 8 attackmen if you allowed that many guys, and all of them are just outstanding players.
Canada's Jeff Snyder trying to pull the draw out. He will actually lose it. Snyder in his 4th World Championships, a former MVP himself. 3 championships ago when Canada won the gold medal. But England comes out on top, and I think that was one of the big questions, is who's the starting face-off guy for Canada, with Jake Withers also on the roster, and it's been answered. It's Jeff Snyder.
Yeah, I think Snyder's taking the first one. He's great for all of us older guys to see Jeff out there playing. He's been battling in this game for a long time, and I'm sure they're going to feel it out. And with face-off position off, it's a matter of who gets hot and what the matchup that you have with the opponent.
Canada with a pretty passive ride. They've got Curtis Dixon, Mark Matthews, and Jeff Teat now coming up on ball, but they are just sitting back, taking away all the outlets, and Will Baxter is handling the ball pretty much exclusively. He did trade it off with Tommy Kirkland a little bit there, but he's going to actually run up. They bring a midi back to give him a chance, and boy, he's going all the way the length of the field, and he's going towards the net. I was looking for a goalie shot.
That would have been an interesting start. That would have been an interesting start.
Jimmy Giannis takes the pass, and they're going to take their time. Ryan Hunt is holding on to the ball, and he passes up top, but the English team obviously letting Baxter get back to his cage, because the last thing you want, if you're him, is take the shot, have Dylan Ward stop it, and somebody goes down and scores on the empty net.
Yeah, the Canadian offense is good enough. You don't want them playing without a goaltender in the net.
Yeah. Sam Russell, the captain, brought it over to the near side to Huns. You can see the pressure from Jason Noble there coming in. Canada, that's Tyson Bell playing short stick D midi. And he is aggressive, such an athlete, and he is all over Josh Sherry Brennan.
And right away, England coming out with an open set initially, trying to pull away the slide and make it difficult for Canada to help.
Yeah, I mean, one player up above the restraining line, 2 others near the restraining line, and of course the man at X. So a lot of pressure they're putting on. There's Brody Merrill covering. Oh, sorry, there's Brody Merrill, the all-time great LSM.
Yeah, Brody playing down low as a close defenseman here in his later years, letting some of the younger guys run around up at the midfield.
And he wasn't known as much for his close defense as for the game-changing things he could do all over the field, but he's still one of the best defenders around.
Absolutely. He's disciplined. He's always going to be in the right spot, and when it's time to get the ball up and out, he's one of the best ground ball men ever.
Not exclusive to the field game for him either, as he's one of the best loose ball men inside that we've ever seen as well.
Absolutely.
He's just one of the best lacrosse players that we've seen on the planet.
Yeah, I think he was 6-time MLL Defenseman of the Year.
I think it was an attempted pass. It actually wound up bouncing off the back of the net. It will go all the way to the sideline and out of play. Tough break for England after a long, valued possession.
Yeah, nice little flash to the backside off to the right hand, off the right-handed drive, but the feed just hit the crossbar.
And it's interesting, Brody Merrill passes it ahead, gets the ball up to Latrell Harris, who plays for the Brock Badgers in Couflin. Latrell Harris playing with a short stick. So he's not playing a pole, which is what he does at Brock.
Yeah, there's been a lot of discussion about as a defensive midfielder. I was going to play defensive midfield, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do see him with a long pole at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely have both sticks in his repertoire here. Setting up at the top, ball in the stick of Josh Byrne. Byrne will throw it behind the net to Mark Matthews. And now they come near side, and this is Ben McIntosh. McIntosh teammates with the Saskatchewan Rush. And there's Wes Berg playing midfield. Little fake, they come back high to Jeff Teat. Teat to Curtis Dixon. And as we reel off the names, you can see the challenge facing England and all the other teams in this tournament. I know you guys in Scotland are obviously very aware of what you're facing when this offense is on the field.
Absolutely. I think they had a short stick on Josh Byrne there for a moment. That's something that never happens.
Well, who else are you going to put it on?
Really good players on the field.
You want a short stick on Curtis Dixon or Wes Berg? What are you going to do? There's a low shot by Byrne, the first of the game. It skips wide and bounces out of play. And Mark Matthews puts his palms up. There are no balls along the end line.
Little operational error there. I think when they started the anthems, someone forgot to put the balls on the end line.
Yeah, we have a game ops person down in the corner, and he just threw a couple out on the far side, but he didn't want to wander over to the middle of the field behind the net while Canada's going to be on offense. So he'll go and lay those out. We'll be all set for next time. Meanwhile, Berg tosses over to Byrne. A couple of the young guns for Canada. Pass behind the net to Matthews. He's coming out.
It's interesting when you watch Canada. The story always used to be great sticks, not such good athletes. That is just not the case anymore. It's great sticks and great athletes.
Oh, they're phenomenal. Just look at the fact that Chris Cloutier is not on this team. Speaking of, that's a powerful athlete, super talented, but he just didn't make the roster. Curtis Dixon drives to the net, scores the first of the game, going low through the legs. Just getting it by Will Baxter, and it's 1-0 Canada. It took 5 minutes.
And that's one of Curtis Dixon's classic moves. You have to play him to his right hand, but he's so good at getting underneath. And once he gets by, he gets that stick back and gets the shot off so quickly. Today, it's tough to defend and check down on it, and B, for the goalie, the shot's off before he even has a chance to react.
Snyder will come back out for another faceoff. I was wondering if they'd alternate, or we'll see. Are they going to go by quarters? I imagine we'll see Withers out there at some point.
And I do think it's going to be a process over the course of this tournament, as it is for everybody, figuring out what the best matchups are and who's ready to play.
Tom Bracegirdle won the first face-off, but this one is going to wind up going to Canada. And they will take their time with Zach Courier setting up in the offensive zone, passes it off to Dixon. Matthews whips it around to the far side, and Jeff Teat. Pretty tremendous start to his college career with Cornell.
He's an unbelievable player, super patient, confident, does that strong left-handed cradle, and as soon as you double to him, the ball's out of his stick.
Massive lacrosse IQ.
Absolutely.
I saw his dad, Dan, just before the game. I was walking along, I heard somebody call Stamper and looked over, and there he is. And he messaged me when it was announced, the team was announced. There's a shot and the save by Baxter, turning aside the effort from Mark Cockerton. But he said, well, I guess I'm going to Israel.
And see, you saw there again the same dodge as Curtis Dixon used before. Everybody says you got to send the Canadians to their offhand, but they're so good at dodging underneath that you still have to come hard to that with that slide when they do go underneath.
Yeah, and the little toe drag that they like to use makes it so hard to get to the stick because they're so adept at just putting it in a position where you're going to put yourself out of position if you go after it.
Absolutely.
Stepping and ripping on the step back shot is Ian McKay, who's up in an offensive midi position. Another one of the young guns that Canada's added to this roster. Boy, he is going to go very high in the National Lacrosse League entry draft. Top 5, I would say. Certainly, I would think top 4. There's McKay, changing direction, toss it back out to Teat. They get the ball moving quickly. Dixon gets a defender on his back. You're to Cockerton on the far side. There's a guy who's really made his mark in the field game, is trying to establish himself on this dominant Canadian roster. And, kudos to him for making this lineup. With so many talented players.
I think he's a guy that was a question mark on whether he'd make this roster or not. But, I think Coach Mearns thinks he's a talented player, and he's a young player as well. He's going to be around for a while for them.
Yeah. And if you're wondering, I know people have been asking me, why isn't Chris Cloutier on the roster? You have to apply for the roster. That's one thing. He applied. He went to the camps. Camps were last summer. And they had the tryouts, and they assessed things based on that, and they would also follow the players in college and that. But the things he's done in MLL in the last month are not relevant because they'd already announced the roster.
And he's a guy that's gotten better every day from the moment he walked onto the University of North Carolina campus and really exploded kind of at the end of his junior year and has only gotten better since.
You can really see the overplay. Sorry, the overplay by Ryan Sweetman really forcing McKay off again to his offside. And it is obviously the playbook the teams are following.
And I love the patience out of Canada here. As when England plays good defense, as I say that, they
force a
shot. Maybe an ill-advised shot. And not well placed either.
Well, right in the chest, goes straight into the stick of Baxter, and he just turns it up the other way. And here comes Sweetman trying to push the pace and create something. He is picked up by Jason Noble. There's the slide. Great job, and the ball stripped by Graham Hossack. Big hit on Merrill. And, that was Brody Merrill grabbing the stick. Yeah. He's complaining, but he just latched onto the stick of the English player and hauled it with him and actually pulled the player towards him by doing so.
We talk a lot about the Canadian offense, and that's what everybody loves. But the reality is, over the recent years, the Canadian defense is outstanding. I mean, these are guys that are All-Americans in college in the United States, so their defense is not lacking at all.
Kevin Crowley, number 21, is out there. He's about to be on the man right there with the ball as he is playing a D-midi role right now. And that is a great player. He can play defense, but he's so good offensively, you don't really think of it. Here comes the pass back up top. England's pass is picked off, and here comes Matt Gilray taking the floor. Speaking of high draft picks this year, he and Ian McKay, I think, are vying for the 3 and 4 spot, although those both belong to Buffalo, so I think they'd be happy to get both of them. That pass, though, back to Dylan Ward is away from him. Gets out of play, and England will get possession. We will see Ryan Huns go down the who you noted before the game plays a very Canadian-style lefty game.
Absolutely. He wants left stick in his left hand. He'll do the same underneath dodge. Not Canadian, but plays with that style.
He has it now, passes it off right-handed, just as we say that. Gives it off down below to Jimmy Giannis. They were looking inside, but they're going to go back up to the top and let Christian Scarpello see what he can create.
Christian Scarpello, one of the best athletes on the field, was a defensive midfielder primarily for Rutgers, but he can play offensive defense, fast, athletic, and just loves to play the game with a little bit of style. Big
collision in front, and Tyson Bell actually lost his stick for a moment. That opened up a bit of a gap and a chance there for Zach Guy. But it does get turned over, and a nice little side hand flip by Matt Gilray. He bounces away from Merrill, but he will push the pace up into the offensive zone. He's going to slow things down now. These are there for Teat. Merrill will stay out and play an offense. No, he's going to head off just as I say that. Everything we say, guys, are contradicting as
Brody
we
was
say
taking
them.
the peek, though. He was taking the peek to make sure they were paying attention. If not, he was going to cut for sure. But I think he saw 2 guys coming to him and figured, let's get off and get the O-men on.
I think most lacrosse teams in the world know to keep an eye on Brody.
Absolutely. He can handle the stick as well as any offensive player.
Zach Courier with the ball. I think likely Rookie of the Year in the National Lacrosse League. So we have some great young talent, as you were mentioning, on this Canadian team. Here's a chance on the run and shooting on the off stride was Trey Leclerc. Speaking of young talent, he is he's not even in this coming NLL draft. He's got a couple more years to wait. He's 2020 with Jeff Teat who may be the first pick in that draft. If it's not him, it's probably Trey Leclerc.
And Leclerc already shoots it like he's a grown man, though. He gets that
He's
ball
been shooting
moving.
like a grown man since he was 17, 16. He is a big, athletic guy, and he absolutely rips it. We have a hydration break here for the players, and so far it's 1-0 for Canada. And if you're England, obviously you want to win, but the reality for a team like England is you're hoping to stay close for a while and see what you can do later in the game, right?
That's got to be their key. They're focused on defense, but they have to make sure when they're on the offensive end, they don't get a sense of urgency to create goals, right? And say, oh, we need to score lots of goals to keep up
Yeah.
with Canada. They got to be patient on offense. Every minute the ball's down there with them,
Yeah.
Canada doesn't have it.
Yeah, and the other issue, of course, when you're down in the offensive zone, you talk about the patience. That is important, and also the sense of when it's a good shot to take. So you're not just being patient; you're being aware of what those possibilities are, so that you don't hold back too much. Because if you're thinking, we got to take time, we got to take time, we got to take time, and then there's a chance, you have to shoot.
Right, in the end, you
can't
got to
be
score
hesitant.
goals. You got to score goals, and that's something we talked about with the Scotland team. Is when you want to be patient, you also need to be aggressive at the same time. So you create those opportunities for yourself. Just don't turn the ball over.
Epic Lacrosse, the leader in technologically advanced lacrosse equipment, is proud to be the official head, shaft, glove, and arm protection sponsor of the 2018 FIL World Championships in Netanya, Israel. Epic says thank you to all the teams that trusted Epic for their gear needs. Epic Lacrosse Live, Play, Be, and Trusted Choice is the official insurance partner of this 2018 FIL World Championships. Protect what matters most, from business to home, auto, and life. Trusted Choice independent insurance agents are there for you when disaster strikes. Go to trustedchoice.com to find a local agent today. So we have about a minute left in this break, and I just want to see if you're at all surprised by maybe the lack of scoring chances that Canada has generated. They've really only had, the one goal by Dixon, obviously a good one. Byrne had a really good chance, and one or two others, but they haven't really been creating lots of open looks.
Yeah, they've gotten a few looks, missed the cage a couple times, but I also think they want to be very careful. Again, this is all a process, right? And they need to do things the right way and prepare for the long haul with this tournament. They don't want to go out and just try to force goals. They want to do their systems, run through their plays, run through their sets, and make sure they're doing everything the right way. And I'm sure they're confident that the goals are going to come in time.
Yeah, I think there's probably no lack of confidence. And one interesting thing to keep in mind is with the odyssey Canada had to go through to get an agreement, to get things sorted out. We're not going to get deeply into the CLA versus NLTPA, National Lacrosse Team Players Association, and Canadian Lacrosse Association issues, but there was no agreement in place until about a month ago.
Right.
And it was really last minute to get everything in place to get this team to come. And, they weren't practicing. They weren't together. They simply didn't have the chance to do those things. And you wonder if that is going to have a bit of an impact on how well they are prepared to play, especially at the beginning of the tournament. They'll get better as they go, but is it an issue earlier?
Yeah, I think that, Coach Mearns, I'm sure in picking his final team, was aware of that and wanted to make sure he had players that would understand their roles and be willing to fulfill them without needing a lot of coaching to get them there.
Andrew Baxter throws it back to Will Baxter, the goalie. England trying to be patient here as Canada a bit more aggressive of a ride, certainly pushing forward more. They do crack over center, but then immediate pressure from Ryland Reese, another one of the young guns. He's playing junior lacrosse out in BC and has made this team as a junior. There's Dixon passing it, and there is a gorgeous chance and a great finish by Jeff Teat. And Dixon, you have to respect the shot, and he just lobs it over to Teat.
It's tough to play defense against Canada when you have even numbers. You give them opportunities in transition like that, they're going to score 80-90% of the time. And that was due to pressure at the midfield line, right?
Ryland Reese getting out there.
You got to pick the right times to go after him. They did. They caused a bad pass, and immediately it's up, out, and in the back of the net.
Yeah. I think I might have said that Ryland Reese is playing in the WLA. I said out west. Anyway, he's playing in BC Junior A League. He's still a junior, and he's an amazing athlete, as you can see. Great play there to get that whole thing rolling with the strip and turnaround.
Yeah, finding the right time to be aggressive, right? That's what you got to do. Step up and make plays. Those are the guys you're looking for, the guys that make plays. Don't stand back and hope. Go out and do something.
Boy, you think, this is a young Canadian team, but you really realize how young it is when you start to name all the players who are just either still in junior or just out of junior. Of course, as we're talking about Canada being young, Jeff Snyder wins a face-off, and he is the grizzled veteran.
I think he's the second. I think Brody's actually a year older than him, I think.
Is he a year older than Jeff?
I think 37 and 38. And actually, no, you might be right. Jeff might be the oldest, and Brody's a year younger than him.
Either way,
Neither
they're
of them are
both
25.
playing big roles. No. But, with those lacrosse IQs, you can put a few extra miles on the tires and
Jeff's in great
hang on
shape.
well.
Yeah,
He's worked
he'll
really
be in
hard.
great shape when he's 45.
He has worked really hard to remain a dominant face-off man, and there's Mark Matthews behind the net. Over to Dixon.
And there are those that would say, that because he hasn't been doing it as much as some other guys, he's fresher. These guys that are playing in the MLL and playing in the LL, they're beaten up. They take a lot of abuse out there, and Jeff should be fairly fresh.
Westberg going for a run. All his options locked off or blocked off, so he's going to sprint around. There's a chance. That one's turned aside, and England comes up with it. And a nice calm play by Tommy Kirkland. Just throw it to the far side of the field and create some space. Tom Bracekirtle was open on this side of the field and was looking, calling for the ball. Now he's not actually opening. He has his hand straight up in the air to show that he has stayed on his side of center.
Canada doing a great job of using the attack to help pick up all the middies at first, which it gives them a chance to ride back the midfield line, but also gives them a chance to substitute and get their D middies on. While the attack rides all the midfielders, they're forced to handle the ball with the attack with the defense.
Play was blown in. Possession was handed over to Canada on the offside, and then now we have a series of stoppages, a lot of whistles at this point. We've got 5 minutes left in the first quarter. It's 2-0 Canada. I'm Steven Stamp with Brian Silcott. Really appreciate you coming up and doing this. I know you had a game until, like I said, 50 minutes before this one. You got to talk to your guys. You got to address things, but it's fun having you up here. We haven't had a chance to work together, and we've heard each other call games.
Absolutely,
but,
yep.
We talked about it a couple years ago, trying to get together for, I can't remember, was it Finland we were talking about? Or there was something we talked about, maybe doing a call when we got a chance, and then when this all started to come together, I sent you a message. And
no better stage to do it on, right?
World Championships. It's the
first
big
time
one.
at the World Championships.
There you go. It's a pleasure. Having a great time already. We're only 15 minutes into this game. We're back underway. Cockerton will throw it down low to Teat. And Matthews staying well behind the net where he is wont to set up. 4 lefties out as they've got Ian McKay as well. Canada going with a bit of an off-balance set. And just letting Dixon run out. Then some off-ball movement and a lot of activity through the middle. And you can see some confusion on the England defense. And it leads to that goal from Jeff Teat, and England just never caught up with the movement going on there.
That's exactly what Canada picked the United States apart with the last time, right? Little patience on the perimeter, and then when the cutters start coming, the guys are just getting lost. It was Kevin Crowley in the last World that got several goals off of that.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult because you're so concerned about the man with the ball. You're so concerned about his ability to come over the top and go underneath. You're looking to help, and all of a sudden everyone's cutting through, and guys get lost very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have your head on a swivel. You have to be looking around, but when you do turn your head, you know Canada's going to take advantage, so you got to look back again, and it can be pretty challenging.
The Canadian box game is not. There's no standing on offense, right? Everyone's active all the time, and I think it pays dividends.
In theory,
the
some are
game.
better than others at it.
That's true. At the NLL level, you have,
yes, you have a lot of movement. England's Jimmy Giannis comes up with the ground ball, and the English have possession as we have 3.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. They lob up top. Nothing there, so they're going to slow it down, wait for one of their long poles to get back over midfield so they can switch up positions a little bit. This is where, we've talked about England having to be patient, having to not force things, but be ready to pull the trigger when you get the chance. And we'll see what they're able to concoct here.
And England's not making a lot of mistakes. They just can't penetrate this Canadian defense.
No. Somebody was telling me they thought that just looking at the roster, they thought Canada's defense wasn't quite what it was 4 years ago. And because they're missing guys like Kyle Rubish and some other players. And I said, I don't know, they look pretty good. And they said, well, who? I was like, okay, number 4, Graham Hossick, for one, I think is the best defender in the world.
Noble's not bad.
Jason Noble's fantastic. I think Jason Noble's one of the most underrated indoor defenders. Outdoors, I think he's even better. They tried to feed it through down low. It gets away, but they do recover it again. It's Jimmy Giannis coming up with another ground ball, but then it's knocked loose, goes out of play on the far side, goes off of England, and will be Canada possession. There's Latrell Harris again with the short pole.
Typically you think of defenders as these big, strong, beefy guys, and Noble's just not that. He's always in the right spot, always perfect position, and he's aggressive and tenacious.
I remember watching Jason Noble and his twin brother Jeremy playing for the Orangeville Northmen in the 2012 Minto Cup in Whitby. I was calling the games, and it might have actually been before the tournament in a playoff game. And Jason Noble lost his stick on a shift and played 25 seconds of defense without a stick, just using his hands in a hand cross-check fashion, and kept one of the best players in the league at bay. He is a remarkably smart and amazingly agile athlete.
One of my favorite things about calling Georgia Swarm games was getting to watch him play.
Oh,
every
he's
night.
great. England gets possession back. They're going to move the ball up the field. Toss it to the far side. And Dan Smith still holding on. There's a cut into space and the lob pass ahead. Nicely opened up. Great work there as Pete Hayes takes the pass. We have a timeout for England with 1:17 to go in the first quarter. And the one thing that you do see the difference that's quite apparent is when Canada gets the ball and pushes up over center, they are immediately looking to attack. If it's not there, they won't take it. They'll take their patient approach and do whatever. But they're always looking first off, is there an opening? Whereas England, it's almost like they're getting over center and taking a breath like, oh, we got over center. Now let's set something up. There's some chances maybe before that. Probably not, but maybe.
Well, you notice at the beginning they were struggling a little bit with that deep ride, and they seem to have figured it out now, and they're much cleaner in the clearing game. And I think once they get over, they're still trying to figure out how do we attack this Canadian defense, whereas Canada just has confidence. If we do our things, we're going to get good looks. And so they just get right into it and go after them. And England's kind of still probing, and where's the weakness? Where can we get into this? And with the 0 up there, they haven't figured it out yet.
Not yet. Today's game is brought to you in part by Corum Watches. Since 1955, Corum has adopted creativity and boldness as its guiding principles. Corum, the official timekeeper of the 2018 FIL World Championships. Learn more about Corum at www.corum-watches.com. We like to put the Corum read in during a timeout because they're the time people. So we do a timeout. We think it's cute.
Steve, you're smooth, man. You're
Thanks,
smooth.
Man. Thanks. I have to give credit to Chuck Jaffe for that. He was talking to me about the reads. Oh, I like to do this read at this time, this read at this time. And I was like, you're really thinking this through. That's pretty impressive. Today's game is also brought to you in part by Signature Lacrosse. Signature is a company built by the players for the players, focused on revolutionizing the progression of the game. Follow Signature Lacrosse on Instagram at Signature Lacrosse to stay up to date on product releases like Magic Mesh, the longest lasting, strongest, and #1 performance mesh in the game. We're ready to go with 1:17 left here in the first quarter. 3-0. Canada is ahead. England, though, has possession and is going to see what they can do to get this thing going. Jimmy Giannis starts things out from behind. They moved around to the far side. Still lots of time to work with. That's Josh Sherry Brennan. They come back down. Oh, and that pass is, I don't think Sherry Brennan saw that pass coming out. Oh, Jimmy Giannis tried to feed him. Yeah,
and that was a situation where they got Canada moving, but just they weren't able to take advantage of it. I mean, Canada's so good at balancing back up. And just filling all the holes. There's absolutely nothing there. I think it's interesting. We talk about Brody Merrill. They're using him to cover the best dodging attackman that England has. He's covering the X-Man, who's an experienced American college player, and that's what they put Brody Merrill on, the 36-year-old defenseman that's used to playing long ball.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned Jeff Snyder able to continue playing because he's in such great shape. Brody Merrill always in fantastic shape.
Yeah.
And he's got so much going on, playing NLL, playing MLL. He started playing in the summer again, I believe. He just started suiting up in summer lacrosse again in MSL, and of course very busy with the Hill Academy now. Summer break, a little bit of a break for them.
A little bit, but yeah, they got to do some recruiting and all of that.
Lots
as well.
of recruiting,
and not to mention all of his kids. He's got to help them in terms of getting into school as well. And I don't know how Brody gets it all done. I remember when he was starting the Hill School and talking to him about it. And he told me, me and my brother and my dad are going to start a school. We got this little house. I said, Brody, you're out of your mind. What are you talking about? And Brody wants to do something. He goes out and does it and gets it done and does it well.
That's amazing. Patrick now, of course, coach and GM of the San Diego Seals, his brother. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there if he moves out there and lives out there. And I've heard rumblings of some different ideas of what might happen.
That's a really exciting thing, though, the San Diego Seals, in terms of having a team in California, a team in San Diego, but also having Joe Tsai involved in the league as an owner is a great thing for the future of the NLL and for the sport of lacrosse.
Today's game is brought to you in part by JBC Money, the money transfer specialist for private and corporate clients. Start saving today with bank-beating exchange rates, no fees or commissions on your international money transfer needs, and with the support for 60 different currencies. Find more about us during the championship at jbcmoney.com. And I actually kind of slipped that one because Joe Tsai is well known for having made a lot of money.
Yes, he did.
And spending
made a couple bucks
on MLL. Here we have,
here we see Byrne with a short stick on him.
Now, if you heard that buzzer, it's because the timeout countdown timer was on the screen, and they actually blew play in while it was still going down. They did get it back to the 39 seconds left in the quarter, but that buzzer went as the time ran out in the timeout timer. Here's Wes Berg, a huge pick that actually wound up knocking Josh Byrne down. England gets the ball back. They've got 14 seconds to go the other way. Here's a run by Ryan Sweetman. Gets it ahead. There's a chance for the pole here as Dan Smith goes to the net, passes the shot, stopped by Dylan Ward. You go through all that, you create a really nice scoring chance for Ryan Huns, and there's the reigning World Lacrosse Championship MVP to just say no.
And you see him coming in. We had the perfect angle there. Dylan Ward is filling up 80, 90% of that net. There's not a lot to shoot at.
We will take a break for the end of the first quarter, but I want to let you know that today's game is brought to you in part by Celebrate. Communities everywhere turn to Celebrate's leading digital intelligence solutions every day to help make a safer world more possible. Visit celebrate.com to see how. And Honig's is proud to be the official provider of game day apparel for referees at the 2018 FIL World Championships. Founded in 1984, Honig's is the right call for all referees, umpires, and officials across all sports in the United States and around the world. For more information, visit honigs.com. Honig's, the right call for over 30 years. And I was about that far away from saying vampires instead of umpires. I literally started like, nope, it's umpires.
There may be times when I've called them worse than vampires over the course of my career.
But we like the, we do appreciate, I've talked about this in every game I've called, that, the refs put a lot in to the game and the preparation. And you're not always going to agree with them, but they're out there doing their best.
The crew I had on my game did a fantastic job. Yeah. They called the game well. They let it be physical at the beginning, and as it started to get a little too physical, they reined it back in. I thought they did an excellent job.
We have a 3-0 score after a quarter of play, and how do you feel? Do you feel like this is about how you'd expect this to play out, or were you thinking maybe a wider gap even?
I thought there would have been a little bit more scoring. I definitely thought Canada would have put up more goals, but I do think that they're very comfortable with what they're doing. They're getting good looks. They're running things effectively. They're not turning the ball over a lot. On the other side, I think that England's got to be scratching their head saying, okay, what are we going to do with this defense?
Yeah.
They can't win a one-on-one matchup, which makes it tough. And a lot of times when you go into a one-on-one match, you can't win one-on-one matchups. You start maybe playing a little two-man game. I don't know if you want to do that against Canada. I think they need to get the ball behind and start doing some off-ball work up top and see what Giannis can do against Brody Merrill, maybe carrying a little bit and trying to get some opportunities for cutters to get open up top.
Yeah, Giannis is really a guy who makes a lot of things happen for England with his quickness and with his agility, his lateral movement, right, is such a big factor.
Absolutely. And Nick Watson was in that position for that's what everybody expected to see. Who played at Adelphi has been great at that position for England for a while. And Giannis came in and took it from him. And so far he's really been fairly stagnant. Hasn't really challenged Brody at all. And I think that he needs to for them to have success.
Giannis just 22 years of age. Speaking of young guns, the Hofstra product, and he's doing a great job for them. In his role, but he just hasn't been able to produce anything here because of the challenges you run into.
Absolutely. Him and Scarpella were the two additions to this roster from the American college ranks, and both are excellent players.
You can hear somebody yelling withholding, and they'll say it was England withholding, so Jeff Snyder will come away with possession for Canada. Play blown in as we get the second quarter underway. It is 3-0 Canada. I'm Stephen Stamp with Brian Silcott. Welcome to everyone watching around the world, and of course in particular in Canada, because we got the message during the last game, which Brian was coaching for Scotland against Australia, that all of Canada's games here are going to be available on tsn.ca and through TSN Go. So that is very exciting news for the Canadian fans and honestly for a lot of fans to be able to watch a great team play. It's
great. This tournament went on for years where if you didn't come, you didn't get to see it. It's awesome that folks all over the world do get a chance to see it, see the level of play, and to see the different countries playing against each other is just outstanding.
Teat down low to Matthews will wander along the baseline. And welcome to everyone from England watching, cheering on your team. And they're acquitting themselves pretty well here. I mean, it's a big mountain to climb, but they're certainly coming out and giving a really solid effort.
Yeah, well, we're talking about them not being able to solve the Canadian defense. They have held them to 3 goals.
Yeah. I mean, you see Dan Smith, I've been very impressed with. He just held off Curtis Dixon and forced Dixon to do something he didn't want to do and wound up eventually turning the ball over, which is pretty impressive. Not many people do it. Now Dan Smith has come up and he's joined the offense. I was thinking he might go in for a pole goal and become the hero of England at this point, but he decides to go back and settle himself into defense.
Too early to tell what it'll amount to, but clearly England is playing with more confidence as this game goes on. They looked a little tight. You could see it particularly in the clearing game. They were nervous about what to do, but they're starting to play with more confidence, and hopefully that'll lead to them being more aggressive on offense and starting to attack a bit more.
Zach Guy moves the ball around. Now they get it over to the far side, comes back at this top side here to Will Hardy. England looking to produce something. Oh, it just skips away there from Ryan Hunser. He actually had a pretty good chance to get a good shot off. Here comes Canada the other way. Graham Hossack running, shooting. Oh, nice save. Great job by Nick Baxter.
That's a big save. That's a big
Will
save.
Baxter, that is a great save. And he's limping a little bit, paying the price as goalies do, but rub a little dirt on it, he'll be ready for the next one. Goalies are tough.
They always hurt a little bit more when you had an opportunity at your end, right, and just missed the pass because you're gripping your stick too tight.
Yeah.
To have the other team go back and score at the end is really tough, and the goalie comes up huge there to keep that from happening.
Alex Russell moves it across to the top where Christian Scarpetti keeps things going, gets it back now. England being patient, trying to produce something. You can see they start to get some cutters. It's just little probes here and there, seeing where you can try and find a bit of a weak spot. Not there as Brody Merrill comes out with it. Now he's coming up to play slow. He is on the run. Jeff Teat throws it down. Merrill is covered and pushed in the back. Not much of a push, but
Brody's
he didn't like it.
The official, though.
Yeah.
Come on, I'm 35 years old.
Somewhere in that neighborhood, anyway. 37. We have had
37.
Confirmation from Dan Carey.
Dan said he's 37.
The Canada manager here is taking on a filming role. He's got a burgeoning broadcasting career here.
That's the other thing that's impressive is the Canadian staff.
And a nice finish there by Curtis Dixon. Takes the pass across from Kevin Crowley, who jumps up into an offensive role for this one. And again, just a little breakdown for England, and Canada capitalizes immediately. Yeah,
Canada doesn't miss on those. Feet set on the back door, it's going to be automatic.
Yeah, the Canadian staff, put together. And obviously, one thing we all miss, Dave Huntley being here involved in this team, his stat passing last winter. And I think that's one other factor this team has is, the do it for Hunts factor. He was such an amazing man, such an amazing contributor to the game of lacrosse. I like to point out to people that the last thing Hunt said to me when we had a call was, just if there's anything you need, give me a call. And I feel like that's the last thing he said to just about everybody, right?
I've heard that several times.
Yeah. And he means it. He always meant it.
And to a lot of these older players, he was like a second father to them.
Yeah.
And the younger guys, even if they never had him as a coach, they all knew who he was and how important he was to Canadian lacrosse and lacrosse in general. The Canadian lacrosse, American lacrosse.
Oh, yeah. An impact all around the world. England with possession, trying to set something up. Got a lot of runners deep. Now they're going to move it back up top and let Pete Hayes have a go. They go over to the far side. That ball is turned over. And again, England trying to create things and Canada just stepping in the way often. And here comes a run to the far end. That shot taken by Rylan Reese. And you can see how quickly he gobbles up ground with those strides. Flag coming.
And both of those shots going low on Baxter and him doing a great job of smothering him.
Yeah. He's having a good game. Looks to be fine now, moving around. He definitely was walking with a bit of a limp after he took that one shot in the lower leg. Canada will have possession.
Mom,
the penalty.
How bad of a look is the porta potties behind the goal? It's terrible.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is the camera people down on the field. We have an ambient mic down on the field. We get lots of great stuff from it. Occasionally we get discussions among the photographers about the porta potties. Westberg back over to Jeff Teat. He's backpedaling, goes to Berg. He'll let a sidearm rip. He put everything into that, wound up on the ground. The shot goes into the stick of Baxter.
Another nice save by Baxter.
Yeah.
And another one down low. Those are not easy saves he's making.
He made it look pretty easy, and that's, I mean, Westberg's put plenty of those shots in. So
that one he caught. The
great
first two he gave up
anticipation.
rebounds.
Yeah.
That one he caught cleanly.
Now he's going to go for a bit of a run. Lob pass ahead. Oh, and he kind of, nice pickup there. Great job by Timmy Kirkland. England trying again to find a way through. And sorry, it's Tommy Kirkland. Things are getting a little dark here.
Yeah, the rosters are hard to read.
And it's like, wait a second, that's not Timmy. What am I thinking? So apologies to the English lacrosse fans and friends and family of Tommy Kirkland. They rotate the ball around the perimeter of the offensive formation. Thrown down low by Zach Guy. We're going to pop it up to the top. Alex Russell. You made some notes on the roster, and beside Russell, you just wrote, beside Alex Russell, you just wrote IQ.
Yeah, he's a smart player. He's a very smart player. Understands the game well. His older brother's the captain of the team, Sam.
He had a great chance there, but it just gets away from him. But then the goal by England. They had one chance. It actually wound up leading to another when the first one didn't work out.
Rebounds are great. You need to be effective on those. That's something that Canada's always been great on. Balls loose in the crease area, they're going to pick it up and put it in. But England capitalizing on it there. And was that Giannis that actually got that?
It was hard to see with a lot of people in
Actually,
the
it may have been
there.
Huns. It may have been Huns.
Yeah, I think it was.
But there was a massive
Ryan
bodies
Huns.
around that.
There were.
That's the kind of thing that can spark you. Scoring goals is the best way to gain confidence on offense, no matter how they happen. When you put the ball in the back of the net, you start to feel like, okay, we can put the ball in the back of the net. No matter how you get that first one, it definitely makes the second one easier.
And it's 4-1 for Canada. England just 3 goals back as we've got 11 and a half minutes to go here in the second quarter. Canada immediately off the faceoff, though, putting some pressure on. Here's a chance. There's Matthews taking it from Teat and burying it. And boy, that's disheartening when you score. Have to work so hard to get a goal and give one up 10 seconds
And
later.
just a brilliant ground ball there off the faceoff. The one-handed pickup with the scoop and then pulling it back out from the crowd with one hand. Just a beautiful thing to watch, and immediately leads to transition into goal.
And the kind of play, we talked about earlier in the day seeing Uganda and Luxembourg, who are doing a lot of great things, a lot of improvements, and some stuff really happening there. But you just don't have, when you haven't had a stick and a ball in your hands since you were 4 years old, you do not have the innate, the highly fine-tuned skills and instincts to do that. There's Jake Withers taking
he
a
was the one
face-off.
with the ground ball in that last one as
There
well.
you go. So Withers comes in and immediately has an impact.
And Johnny Christmas is coaching Uganda and doing a great job with them. Exactly like
Yeah.
you said. He has to be limited in what he can do just because of the skill level. But those guys are working hard, and I'm sure they will get better every year.
Just had a question from Antti Lakinen in Finland. So we've got people watching from all over the world. Hope you're enjoying the game, guys. And Antti, terrific young man. Speaking of growing the game, plays in Finland. He's in the north, about a 3.5-hour train ride for him to get down to Turku, where he gets to play for the most part. As we see Jeff Teat dodging back out and coming up to Mark Matthews up high. And he came over to Saskatchewan this summer to play with the SWAT Junior B. He was practicing with the Junior A's, really showing some promise, having a great time. His first game, though, 2/3 of the way through, stepped on somebody's foot, broke his foot.
Oh.
Had to go back to Finland, but he is recovering, and I expect great things from him. He'll be back. I know he wants to get back with the SWAT and have another go next year.
And Finland is pretty darn good at field lacrosse, but box lacrosse is their game. They, much like Canada.
And box lacrosse clearly part of Curtis Dixon's game, as is field lacrosse. Curtis Dixon scores a lot on the run in box lacrosse, as you mentioned. When he is running like that and you lose him, he's got an open step. How do you stop him from scoring?
You got to stop him before he gets that run, right?
Yeah.
Once he gets there, it's too late. And so we got the goal from England to get it to 4-1. It looked, maybe things can change, but then right away, Canada back with the goal right off the face-off, and then gets possession and gets another one immediately to make it 6-1.
Today's game is brought to you in part by Gladiator Lacrosse, equipment designed and perfected by lacrosse players for lacrosse players seeking to take their game to the next level. Visit gladiatorlacrosse.com today. And today's game also brought to you in part by Cascade Lacrosse. Cascade is the #1 helmet in lacrosse and is proud to be the official helmet of the 2018 FIL World Championships. See more by following Cascade on Instagram. Cascade Lacrosse, a passion to protect. I'm Stephen Stamp with Brian Silcott by my side, and very pleased to have you along for the broadcast. And 6-1, Canada showing their quality, showing those moments of brilliance, but England doing a pretty good job here of staying in this game and really battling.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, Tom Wenham, the coach of England, has really done a fantastic job, and he's a guy that, for Scotland, we're not supposed to like England very much, but Tom is
those internal rivalries.
Tom is
right?
very difficult to not like. He's very even-tempered. He's very organized. Loves the game. Does a fantastic job with his team, and I think that were it not for his skills, this game could be different. They've stayed very organized on defense. They're disciplined on offense, and they're playing what's currently the best team in the world.
And Christian Scarpello actually got the England goal. I've seen it tweeted that we get the goal from Scarpello. So an exciting moment for him and for English lacrosse. Jimmy Giannis with the assist off the rebound.
And interesting that Christian Scarpello's dad is here. He's the coach of Bermuda, actually. Christian Scarpello's father coaches the Bermuda team.
Lots of connections. I mean, in Luxembourg, we saw a father-son team playing. Yeah. The Ritz, dad, Cole and.
We talk about lacrosse, how big it's gotten, but yet ultimately, it's still a really small world.
It is.
It's when you come here, you realize that everyone knows everybody still, as big as the game has gotten.
Well, I was down looking for you between games because I had to do an interview after your game with Scotland, and then I came down to look for you because I knew you didn't know exactly where to come, and I'm walking around. I've got people calling to me, which is great. It's so nice running into everyone, and you have to. Sometimes you just have to say you have the same thing. You got to go, coach. Yeah. Where it's like, hey, really good to see you. Got to go. Really good. Hey, great to see you. Got to go.
That's the only way I made it up here.
Yeah, that's right. I saw you over in the corner. I was trying to get you. And I'm like, dude, don't go away. Come this way.
So 8 seconds on.
On the timeout. On the on the break.
There we go.
We've got 9:30 to go after the hydration break. Kyle Devitt saying, "Hey, it's Stamplax on the call. I know him. I know Kyle, inside lacrosse colleague.
Yep. Down
in the Baltimore area, and Andy Watson. Lots of people chiming in saying hi.
A lot of good stuff for inside lacrosse.
Yep. And there's a nice face-off win there. Great work by Tom Bracecartle, who is, he's a legit face-off guy.
Yeah, he is.
He's up against Jake Withers and Jeff Snyder, and that's not easy.
But he won that one cleanly. That was well done.
9 minutes to go. Hey, we've got the PA guy. Do you hear him downstairs?
Yeah.
The guy, I think it's the guy from last night, isn't it? Did such a fun job on the U.S. Iroquois game. It was interesting.
The earlier game,
Jamaica Israel.
Jamaica Israel is the first time I've ever heard the PA announcer leading chants for one of the teams.
Strangely though, he did the defense chant, but he just said defense. It was like, and then he said it again, defense. And you're like, wait, are you starting a chant? There's a shot by Alex Russell, but it gets a little bit too steep on its angle.
But that's what I think England needs to do. Dodging from behind, working hard behind, and then get the cutter coming down. I think
get the heads turned.
Yeah, that's their best chance to score goals here.
Christian Scarpello setting up at the top, brings it across to the near side. Zach Guy, the Georgetown student. Drive to the net. Good chance, but there's Graham Hossack
good defense
in that close D. That's just a great play. He's so big and strong and smart.
Yeah, and playing box, that he's used to playing that angle and just riding them behind the goal. He's not getting topside there.
Here comes Canada putting some pressure on. Nice spin move by Trey Leclerc. The pass down low, but the bounce shot by Dixon goes wide. And Dixon stepped in the crease after his shot. So it's going to be England possession. One official is trying to give the ball to Canada, but his colleague just waves over to him and says, no.
Yeah, I think Dixon was trying to reach for that far pipe and just kind of sailed it out of the top of his stick wide.
We've actually got a flag on the field up near center, and the official's having a chat I'm going to see what the discussion here is.
Offsides on somebody. It looked like he made another signal before.
Yeah,
that,
it was
though,
the two offsetting calls, it looks like, and they're just going to give the ball to Canada.
I think it may have been illegal procedure, which I'm not sure what that was, and offsides, offsetting penalties.
See, it's nice for me as a person. I mean, I watch the game a lot. I read the rules. I know a lot of what's going on, but sometimes I'm just a little baffled, and I think, oh, it's just me. And then to see that, you're a national team coach, a very experienced person in this game, that sometimes you're just like, I don't know.
I'm thinking someone must have stepped on this field too soon, and and the other team went offsides.
Somewhere in the box, they got a little.
So they just cancel each other out.
Trey Leclerc throws it down deep to Curtis Dixon. They're isolating for him. Big challenge for Dan Smith. Gets through the pick, gets out and forces Dixon to feed it off. Boy, Dan Smith's having himself a game. Mark Cochran on the near side. He's watched by Tim Collins. Collins slips, but does a great job to recover and get back up before Cochran can become a threat. And England, wow, they're having a great shift here, keeping Canada at bay. Hopefully I didn't just jinx them. No, they actually come up with the loose ball. Scooped up there. Tommy Kirkland takes it off the ground. Tosses ahead. Oh, the back and the finish. What a shot there.
Nice offense there, getting the ball low in transition, giving the middies coming on the field and up the field a chance to attack with the ball down low and being kicked back up. Similar to what I think they should do in 6-on-6 offense. They do it in transition there, get the defense turned, looking low, and then kick it back up to someone not exactly a cutter, but into a quick dodge for a bounce shot.
Coming with speed, Ryan Sweetman off the bench at full trot or full gallop, and that's a case where, as you can see, the really nice pass by Ryan Huns by not trying to rip it at him. He just kind of toss it up in front of him, let him run onto it so he can adjust. When you're at full speed,
a catchable ball, we call
yes,
it. A catchable
exactly.
ball.
When you're at full speed, you don't want a full speed pass coming at you. Those tend to bounce off your face. So Jake Withers gives up his man because he was questioning the call. Now he's going to go and pick up Ray Skirtle. His tossed back up top to Scarpello. Down to Alex Russell, who gives it immediately back to Jimmy Giannis. Giannis is setting up fairly high in the zone here. Now he's going to drift back down to probably to X. Yeah, he is getting his way to X. Scarpello lobs it over to the far side, and we'll see what Huns can do with it. He's immediately going to move it on. There's Giannis looking to dodge against Jason Noble. Instead, he passes it. Perimeter passing by England. Really, as you talked about earlier, spreading it out, trying to create some open space.
Brody now up in the midfield, playing it as an LSM.
Just great communication by Canada. As you can see, some cuts through the middle, and Graham Hossack and Brody Merrill there just talking it through so nobody was open for more than a step. Here comes Sam Russell. He's going to be repelled by Tyson Bell. He's got the short stick midi on him. Bellbury right back on him. England's patience. They're hoping to lead to a scoring chance here. And it feels like they're building towards something. They stack it up top. Now split off, and Giannis comes to take the pass.
Interesting. Canada just immediately switched when those players exchanged, and Bell staying up top to play where he's comfortable and letting the long stick stay behind regardless of where the personnel went there and avoiding any opportunity to invert.
Again, that's coaching and cohesiveness. And interesting to see that they seem that cohesive already when they've barely had a chance to be together.
And their England did a better job of making sure they got the invert, but Mr. Ward was in the way.
Yes, nice play by Giannis to get that shot off, but Dylan Ward was ready for it. Well, actually, I almost thought at first he didn't necessarily look ready. Courier trying to fight to get this ball back, but hanging on to it nicely there is Pete Hayes. Hayes will get it up into the offensive zone, and he's going to go for a change. Switching hands back is Josh Sherry Brennan. England patiently setting up everybody on this side of the field, literally all six of their players in the offensive zone this side of the midpoint of the field. Not all the time you see that, but hey, try something different against Canada. Now, of course, they're back. They go with the stack again, with Giannis trying to generate something from behind the net. He's got the Canadian defender all over him, Rylan Reese, in that position. 6-2 Canada leads, 2:42 to go in the half. I'm Steven Stamp with Brian Silcott. It's the 2018 FIL World Championships in Netanya, Israel. Thanks for being with us all around the globe. There's a pass, quick out. Oh, nice save by Ward, as that was a well created, and again from the back, and Alex Smith with the quick release.
Yeah, good quick release. He couldn't get it on cage, but also kind of used Noble as a screen there, shot it around his head, but couldn't get it on cage.
Scarpello. Back up top to him, and they get the ball to Will Hardy.
Canada switching very quickly and smoothly on those picks up top.
It's the anticipation that comes from the communication, right? They're ready to switch by the time you get there. And that one, they didn't even get the pick laid on, as Tyson Bell was just going around it before Ryan Huns could even get there. So Scarpello will throw it down low, and Giannis will once again try to create from the back. Spins, but lost his footing, and Brody Merrill just picks up the easiest ground ball of his career.
And Brody may even have checked that out. That's the skill with that stick as Giannis was falling, a moving target, and Brody just took the ball away before he even hit the ground.
Thanks to Connor Wilson, who tweeted, staggering amount of knowledge bombs getting dropped by Stamplax and BT Silcott in this Canada England game broadcast. I love lacrosse nerds. We love you too, Connor. Thanks. We know you meant that in the best possible way.
He's a Wesleyan guy. He knows a lot about nerds.
Oh, he would be a self-admitted lacrosse nerd. I've actually called a bunch of games with him at the last night at the 2015 World Championships, the box championships. One of my favorite guys to call with. You're rapidly moving into that neighborhood.
He's one of the truly good guys in our game.
Really
I always enjoy when I see Connor.
Josh Byrne trying to work his way through the stick of Sam Patterson, getting right in there. Not enough, though, to contain Josh
Byrne, who's known as a dynamic dodger, is fast, and there he just bulldodges his way into the middle of the field, gets his hands free, and buries it.
Well, you think about the speed and the quickness, because Josh Byrne is so fast and quick. I mean, and the difference, obviously, the quickness to get going, to get the jitterbug thing going, but also the speed when he gets moving in a line.
He has both.
He's got them both, and he can jump, as we saw in the NLL this year. And that was just like you said, the bulldog.
He's a big guy too.
Yeah,
he's not a jitterbug. He's a big guy that's quick. And
he had Sam Patterson's stick actually kind of tied up in his jersey for a bit, trying to check him, and he just pushed through it and got the great shot off.
And that's one of the things I think that separates a lot of the Canadian players is the ease with which they get their hands free, because they don't need their hands to be very free to move the ball. You know, they don't need as much space as other guys to catch the ball or to pass it. They're good at positioning their hands and using their stick in ways, as you saw right there. The defender's right there. He just bowls his way in and gets off a nice, strong shot with very little room. And
the scary thing for opponents, obviously, is if you do get a slide on him and combat that, he just passes to whoever's open. And that person is, at that point, I think it was Curtis Dixon or Westberg or, just pick your poison, right? We are nearing the end here of the first half. And fans, remember, Maverick Lacrosse is proud to be the official social responsibility partner of the 2018 FIL World Championships. With best-in-class design and input from the game's top players, Maverick is on a tireless mission to offer innovative, high-performance products. Nothing should get in the way of an athlete playing at their best. See more by following Maverick Lacrosse on Instagram, Maverick Lacrosse, powered by the player. Jeff Snyder is back out to face Tom Bracegirdle in the face-off spot. 30 seconds to play in the half. Somebody from the Canadian bench just reminding them.
That's Brody, actually, I think, talking to him from the wing.
That ambient mic right down the field just gives you such great stuff to let you know what they're talking about, the communication, letting the face-off guy know where he is. And here's Snyder running around, actually tries to make a pass back. He does eventually connect. Gets it on the far side. That's Jeremy Noble. Haven't seen much of him. He is out on the field now. That pass through doesn't connect. It was aimed for Zach Courier. Noble goes after it on the far side, but it's still in the stick there of Andrew Baxter. He throws it ahead. England with 3 seconds. They got to try and get one off here. Shot coming is just not quite in time. They didn't have time for that last pass, especially since it was a bit of a bobble.
Good first half, though.
It was a good first half.
Yeah.
7-2, I think. You wonder how competitive the game will be. England, they're struggling to generate chances. They're struggling to contain. Canada went on in the Canada's offensive zone at times, but overall, England's doing a great job of competing against a Canadian club that is starting to gel. You can see them coming together.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure they're not happy being down 7-2, but they look like a very organized team, a very disciplined team, and a team that got better as the half went on. Sorry.
I was going to say we're going to take a break for about 9.5 minutes, but you want to add something else?
No.
Okay, we're going to take a break. I'm Stephen Stamp with Brian Silcott. This is the 2018 FIL World Championships in Netanya, Israel. We'll be back for the second half.
Hi.
We're looking for insurance.
Oh, let's see who's free.
Is your insurance agent trapped? Probably. When agents work for only one company, their options are simply limited. But a trusted choice independent agent is free to shop around to find you a better deal. Free to do what's right for you. Find an agent at trustedchoice.com.
Hi.
We're looking for insurance.
Oh, let's see who's free.
Is your insurance agent trapped? Probably. When agents work for only one company, their options are simply limited. But a trusted choice independent agent is free to shop around to find you a better deal. Free to do what's right for you. Find an agent at trustedchoice.com.
Welcome back, lacrosse friends. It is time for second half action. Canada versus England. The score 7-2 in favor of Canada. And Jeff Snyder comes out with the immediate face-off win. Drives down, shoots, just misses wide. Will Baxter there in position for the save, but I think that one missed the net. But great start by Snyder to pick it up. But England goes on to the defense. And we were talking just at the, as the half wound down, but what an impressive job England has done to remain competitive in this game. It'll be interesting to see if they can maintain that or if Canada will kind of gel as the game goes on.
That's always the big question. As time wears on, you get a little bit tired. Canada's obviously a team that if you're not spot on, they're going to take advantage of it and produce a lot more goals very quickly.
Ben McIntosh running down into the corner. Saw him early. Haven't seen a ton of him lately. Jeremy Noble is out in the slot. There's a little pick from Mark Matthews, and they're going to call an illegal pick.
And obviously picks called much more tightly here than in box lacrosse and even than in NCAA lacrosse, I would say. They're very strict on on-ball picks.
Yeah. England pushes it up over center. Timothy Collins gets the ball up to the attack, and they'll set it with Giannis in behind the net. Ryan Huns throws it up to the top. England's making a sub, so they're going to slow things down a little bit. They were taking a look to see if something was available. It wasn't, so they're going to make their final changes.
And interesting, you see Hasek, a lefty, playing the lefty attackman. You'd rather have a righty there, but all three of Canada's defensemen they had were lefties.
The lefties, yeah. Brody Merrill, Jason Noble, and Graham Hasek. That pass behind the net, just a little bit too far away from Giannis, and it'll be Merrill scooping one up off the back line. And heading up the other way, and the long lob pass ahead gets to Ryland Reese. He's going to stay for an offensive shift here. Westberg will toss it off, and he'll head off as Kevin Crowley comes out for an omitty shift. Takes the pass back from Noble, and they're going to slow things down. Reese is still out there, playing with the pole. Getting a friendly little shove there from English defender Pete Hayes.
I think Reese waiting for the right moment to substitute there. There he goes
Yep.
after setting the pick and creating a little separation on the substitution, so they get the extra man advantage for a moment.
They put Cockerton at midfield there to come in right from center once Reese went back. And Jeremy Noble will hand it off to Kevin Crowley. Crowley and Noble, such huge factors 4 years ago. Noble in particular, I think, when Canada changed some tactics a bit and moved him to X and moved him around, and boy, Jeremy Noble stood out as he really stepped up in that tournament.
He's a great lacrosse player, and I have to imagine a lot of battles happened in that backyard when those two guys were younger, with one being a defenseman and one being an outstanding offensive player.
Jeff Teat kind of gets a little short arm shot off, but it is snapped up by Will Baxter, who goes for a run.
Baxter's an athletic kid. He can run around a bit. He's a very athletic kid. I say kid, he's a man.
Yeah. Pass ahead, gets it up to Tommy Kirkland. Kirkland's going to leave it there, and they'll let Zach Guy go for the run. Guy still hanging on it. Now he throws it up top, and Alex Russell will lob the ball. Latrell Harris had his back to the ball, or he might have been able to pick off that pass from William Hardy, but obviously Russell was aware of that situation. Push pass up top. Scarpello gets it back. Little slip pick, but good positioning by Graham Hasek to deny the entry to Ryan Huns.
That's just sloppy, and England can't afford that.
No. We've talked about, you've got to value possession, especially when things like that seem to make you pay more often going up the other end. There's just some kind of karma. If you make a mistake like that, you pay for it.
And that's when these guys look at that long pass. It should be fairly easy, but that's when you yell at the youth kids, to just carry a little bit and make it a shorter pass.
Yeah. A little body block there by Trey Leclerc. This is pass from Zach Currier was a bit low. Leclerc turns aside, throws it down to Noble. Brody Merrill had been up for an offensive shift. He is back now. And Josh Byrne will take the ball.
Several of Canada's coaches coach in the NCAA, and they're using a lot of the same substituting games, trying to gain advantage in the substituting game.
There's Matthews down low. A nice save by Baxter as Teat slips out from behind the net. Quick release, and Baxter really sharp to make that save. Boy, he's having himself a game. Stopping the ball and running with the ball. So we actually, of course, have all the ages listed in the program that's in front of us. We could have stopped this all day. Carrie helped me out a bit, too.
We already established that you and I can't really read that very well.
We have established that it's in the dark. We need a little light. But Jeff Snyder is indeed 37 years old. Brody Merrill, 36 at this point. But, born the same year, just a little ways apart. What a wealth of knowledge those two bring out on the field. There's almost another set of coaches on the field. Canada setting up, still 7-2 as we're 6 minutes into the third quarter. I'm Stephen Stamp with Brian Silcott.
when we look at this score, you think about how much Baxter's been tested and has stood up quite well.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been all that much action down at the other side for Dylan Ward.
Oh, and there's a quick release. What a finish there by Josh Byrne. We saw the bull dodge earlier, and this is the quickness in the hands.
That's
we
all
didn't mention the hands before.
That is all hands.
Yeah.
Both the catch of that ball tight at an odd angle and just immediately snapping the pass into a good place. I mean, the shot, I should say.
You don't have to get a ton on that shot, but he had to get enough on it.
No.
And, I mean, it was so perfectly placed.
And using his arms to improve the angle, right? The eyes of the
Yeah.
stick, getting the arms out away from his body, whereas the stick has a much better look at the cage than he does.
Yeah. Yeah, if you haven't heard that term before, they say your stick can see spots that your eyes can't.
Absolutely, that's
You know,
always true.
You reach the stick out, and you just have to know, and these guys know.
That's the thing, like you mentioned earlier, though, that takes skill, right? Not
Yes.
everyone can extend that stick
Yeah.
and still shoot the ball. It's easy
That's
to-
the kind of thing that guys like me playing in my old guys league will make it happen once in a while, and it's largely luck. I like to think that I'm good enough to
come
make
on,
it happen once out of every 30 or 40 tries.
It's never luck. It's
never
always
luck.
exactly
Always.
what you intended to do.
Well, the funny thing is, it is what you intended to do. I just can't do it very often, whereas these guys do it all the time. I mean, it's an amazing skill. England up in the offensive zone, and Sam Russell hands it off, moves it across to the far side. Josh Sherry Brennan. Now they go down behind the net. Ryan Huns moved it around, and some quick ball movement by England. Now they're going to set a little pick for Jimmy Giannis. He wants to shoot. He gets the shot off. Not maybe the best shot selection, do you think?
And you saw, I mean, I think he thought he was going to create more separation. You saw how quickly the Canadian defender slides through that pick and is laying a pick on him, forcing him to rust the shot. And again, it's Dylan Ward on the other end of it.
Latrell Harris to Jeff Teat. Teat kind of tosses the ball over towards Dixon, but it gets away from him a bit. But there's Dan Smith, who's number 4 for England, one of my favorite players in this game, is the close defender for England.
Excellent
Germinal.
position defender, always in the right spot. Not flashy at all, just a solid defender.
Well, just moves so well laterally when he's covering someone as quick as Curtis Dixon, and you never see him get his feet crossed up.
Yeah.
He's just got such great dexterity with the footwork.
His body position looks a lot like Fletcher from the United States. Kind of leans over a lot, gets down real low for his body position.
So he can maintain contact, right?
Yes.
I mean, there's contact, but still have that balance.
Be quick. Be quick on his feet.
That's the thing. How can you be that quick when you're in that bent over position? I don't know. He's quite an athlete. Jeff Teat switches direction. Got Kami Kirkland on him. They move it out to Berg, who's pushed down, gets the shot off. Pretty nice job by Timothy Collins there to stay on him. Noble over to Cockerton. He's just going to back away. A little poke attempt by Alistair Burvin.
And that shot, again, was eyes of the stick, right? You think he doesn't have any angle anymore, but he reaches across the goal. Can go to the far pipe with it.
Yeah. Here's McIntosh. He's going to try and dodge underneath. Nicely repelled there by the short pole. That was Peter Hayes on him. Cochrane pulls it in. Flips it down low. Oh, nice pass in front. Oh, the big late hit from Dan Smith. Oh, a crease call.
Wow, a nice one more. I think the receiver was as surprised as we were that he made an extra pass there. I think everybody was expecting the shot.
Yeah. England with a pretty easy clear. Kirkland steps back over center. Smith directing traffic on the near sides of the ball, goes back to Will Baxter. Good job coming to the ball to create some options by Zach Guy. He gets over center and we'll just...
Good patience there to decipher the ride.
Past the midway point of the third quarter. I'm Stephen Stamp with Brian Silcott. This is Canada and England, 8-2. Canadians lead. Zach Guy comes to Scarpello. William Hardy trying to get down the far side. There's Ben McIntosh back playing a D-midi role. Guy to Scarpello. Looks like he's going to set a pick. Scarpello goes the other way. Zach Courier tries to strip him, can't. That's a nice shot on the run, cross the body. Scarpello with his second of the game. That's a beauty.
Again, Scarpello's a great athlete, and he also has to admit, he's coming off an NCAA season. He's been practicing every day for the last 6 months, and his stick skills are dialed in, and he, again, is a fantastic athlete. And he played as a defensive midfielder for Rutgers. Really didn't play much offense, but he was the guy that was allowed to run, allowed to attack in transition, and is a very capable dodger and shooter.
Shows it there as we are at the hydration break midway through the third quarter, and England pulls back one closer to 8-3 in favor of Canada. I'll let you know that Sidewalls Lacrosse has created the first and only custom manufactured. Hey, where'd my flashlight go? There we go. It is getting a bit dark here as we're well into the evening. It's about 20 after 10 here in Netanya. Perfect time, weather-wise, temperature-wise.
It's beautiful.
To be out here.
It's
It is beautiful. Sidewalls has created the first and only custom manufactured lacrosse heads that represent the style and individuality you bring to the game. You shouldn't have to be Picasso in order to have a custom head. Check out sidewalls.com for official 2018 FIL World Championship heads and more. That's sidewalls.com. Sidewalls spelt with a Z at the end. That's a Z for you.
Yes, I'm aware.
Okay, I just want to make sure. You're coaching Scotland. You know the way that we speak it in the.
We have a lot of fun with the differences in phraseology terms. We have a lot of fun with it.
Where are you from originally?
I'm a New Yorker.
You are. That's what I thought. Like Long Island or?
No.
No. Okay. Sorry.
No offense, Long Island folks. No, my wife is a Long Island.
Okay.
Long Islander.
So you've just offended all of your in-laws.
Oh yes.
Everyone in your extended family.
I grew up just north of New York City.
Okay. Cool. One more sponsor read here. Get an extra competitive edge by upgrading to a Sisu, the official mouth guard of the 2018 FIL World Championships. Sisu offers more protection with less mouth guard, so you can talk, breathe, and drink with no problem. Learn more at sasuguard.com. And I actually lied. We're going to do two more. This game is brought to you in part by New Balance Lacrosse. Wear what the world's best are wearing. A cleat designed specifically for the game of lacrosse. The all-new Freeze 2.0. Find out more information on our NB Lacrosse Instagram account and shop at newbalance.com/lacrosse.
Sisu is a Scotland sponsor. All of our guys wear the
There you
Sisu
go.
mouthpiece.
Do they love them?
I love them, yeah. You get them custom molded, and they're kind of really small and thin, and they, my guys really don't like any other ones now because they feel those are so comfortable.
Honestly, they're pretty revolutionary.
Yeah.
I mean, you just, we grew up thinking mouth guards are kind of uncomfortable, bulky, and
Absolutely.
they have to be to protect you.
You had to take it out to talk.
Yeah. You're always, you see quarterbacks all the time, right?
Yep.
In football and, and in other sports, obviously, but quarterback is the one you really think of where the guy's taking the mouth guard out, barking out some plays, putting the mouth guard back in.
Right.
With Sisu, you can just keep going.
Those days are gone.
Yeah.
Those days are gone.
8-3 the score as we were past the midway point of the third quarter here in Netanya, Israel. Wingate Sports Institute. Pretty terrific place here with the 6 fields.
It really is.
A lot going on.
And it's all fairly compact. The fields are close together, which is nice. Easy for fans to get from spot to spot.
There's Snyder with the win, heading down, goes backhand whip.
Snyder's going to keep you honest.
Yeah. He wants one.
He's a focal. He likes to go to the cage. He's going to keep you honest.
He has scored a lot of goals doing just that over his career.
Has. Backhanded, running through people, running over people.
Canada taking their time. Trey Leclerc slowing things down a little bit. Oh, sorry, Kevin Crowley. Trey Leclerc wearing 12, not 21. That's Jeremy Noble behind the net. Noble around a little pick from McKay. Pass it out top and the hard rip by Jeff Teat. Boy, he is so good at getting his hands free. And then he knows
that
what to do with
defender
them.
was not far away from him.
No.
And Teat's just catching it and shooting it in motion. There's no setup, no nothing. The ball's out of his stick as soon as he catches it.
He's such a smart player. I mean, I actually wrote a story about him as the inside lacrosse top incoming recruit, the top freshman when he was entering Cornell, and you talk to the people who see him play all the time. I've seen him play a fair bit, and I've been very impressed. But you talk to the people who get to see him play all the time, and it just mounts what you feel about this kid as a player.
When you think about it, you watch the NCAA lacrosse, and there's not many times you see another Division I team shut somebody off, and everyone at the end of the year was doing that to Dan Teague.
Yeah. Jeff Teague,
I'm sorry.
They pretty much let Dan run wherever he wants now. Dan was a great player in his day, don't get me wrong, but these days his son is definitely the one that you have to keep your eyes on. Westberg throws it down to Mark Cockerton. Dixon to McIntosh, back up in the offensive zone. Byrne takes it from him, gives it back. There's Berg. Dodging from X. Got a short stick on him. That's a big challenge for Glenn Bracegirdle. Sorry, we've got Glenn Bracegirdle in the point bench. Tom Bracegirdle, right? I'm not losing my mind, am I? Westberg. Again, watched by Bracegirdle. A little bit of a pick there by Dixon. Bracegirdle gets right through it. Goes over to LeClaire. Big chop down there by Jack Laurent Warizniak. There's Warizniak sliding to help Dan Smith. And, great save by Will Baxter. A penalty coming. And Andrew Baxter throws the big post-shot hit on, I think it was Jeremy Noble that he hit.
You can see what Canada's doing on offense. They're just picking back over the top, and waiting until someone comes to help, and then it's a 3-on-2 down low, and there's not much you can do unless your goaltender can make a save like that.
That was a beauty.
Yeah,
by Will Baxter.
But I like that offensive maneuvering there by Canada, of just constantly letting the guys come over the top to their strong hand and doing it off a pick, but being patient until the defense decides to slide.
Tell you though, you kind of think Canada, with everything they've got, they're going to wear a team down and start to pick away and break through. But England has done a great job here of just holding their ground, working hard, playing smart. There's a chance on that shot on the outside of the mesh as Baxter took away the inside, and Dixon not able to stop it. England, very impressive when they're playing. They're better in this second half.
Dixon does not miss from there very often.
No.
Yeah, even on the little net.
Alex Russell. Or sorry, that's not Alex Russell. That would be Thomas Brook on the far side. Now they move it over to the near side. Warizniak going for a run.
The interesting thing in the indoor game, Dixon probably would have come across the mouth of the goal there, right?
Yeah,
Either like driving across or with a dive, and there he chose to fade and kind of flip it down low and didn't finish.
They're going to go all the way back to Baxter.
That's the LSM, again, coming out and putting pressure on that ball as soon as it crosses the midfield line, and England choosing not to test it and rather just to run all the way back to the other end.
Yeah, in this case it was Matt Gilray getting up and putting some pressure on. And now they're going to send Ryland Reese. And that's the thing, you can have the four poles out there, and there's nobody necessarily locked into an LSM role.
No, they're interchangeable.
They're going to move up.
It's a bunch of great athletes with long sticks.
Yeah. England back out near center.
And one of the things that makes Canada so tough is that these defensemen have great hands as well. Throwing skip pass on England and on Canada is tough because the defenders will pick it off.
Here's some speed for England, dodging down the middle. Joshua Sherry Brennan gets repelled. He's going to be turned back. Zach Courier on him. He goes over to the far side to Russell. Low pass is managed by Giannis.
Whereas Zach Courier is a decent face-off guy in his own right.
Yeah.
He won something like 65% in his senior year at Princeton.
Big swat there. Ryland Reese lays the lumber on the pad of Sam Russell. Good non-call. A lot of times you see the call because of the sound, right?
Yeah.
And it's not always a foul. It's just because there's a loud sound. Plastic on plastic can be pretty loud.
Yeah, I think in the blue division, the wax on the arms, you need to get it 4 or 5 times before they're going to throw it back. They usually give you a warning first.
Huns throws it back up top. Russell to Giannis. Giannis at GLE. Just flips it and leaves it there. And Sherry Brennan will go back up to the top. That pass gets away, but it is scooped up. Oh, and there's a big hit by Rylan Reese. That's going to be a penalty. That's a hit from behind. And that definitely crosses the threshold.
Yeah, that's fun. I think that's one that there was a time when you may have gotten away with that, and they would have said turning, and but these days you just can't do it. It's going to be called every time.
Peter Hayes looks like he's going to start with possession.
Interesting to see what England does here on with their first man up / power play.
2 minutes left in the third quarter. I'm Steven Stamp with Brian Silcott. This is the FIL 2018 World Championships. England on the man advantage. Sherry Brennan comes wide. Huns moves it across. They're circling.
And Canada applying a fair amount of pressure here.
Yeah, mini stack in the middle for England. They get a couple guys.
They waved off the flag. Canada's playing with 6 players.
Oh. That's very strange.
Thus the pressure.
There you go. Yeah, it was. That shot high and wide, but England will retain it. Also explains why England wasn't showing a lot of urgency to get towards the net and try and generate something.
Again, I would say that hit probably in some other portions of this tournament might be called, but they let the blue division go, and they let the bracket play. Once they get into it, they let some things go.
Sherry Brennan watched by Tyson Bell. Can't evade him, so he's going to go over to the far side. Russell loses control, dives after it, but can't get it. Here comes Graham Hossack. He's going for a run. We've talked about him being big and strong. You see how well he covers the ground as well. Passes it off, goes for the return pass, but instead they go to Bell, the trailer. Beautiful tic-tac-toe. Hossack to Teat to Bell, and that's a beauty.
And that's something everyone likes to see. Their short stick getting the goal, the long pole with the hockey assist.
There you go.
Now, you like to reward your defenders when they run in transition.
Yeah, and Graham Hossack, that's something he's really stepped up in his box game as well. And you can see how comfortable he is in all phases of the game, just getting up and making that nice pass to Teat, who, again, just sees the field and sees the ball, the field, everyone on it so well. He was very aware from before. I mean, as soon as the pass was coming to him, you could tell he knew where Tyson Bell was and what he was going to do.
And that's one of the lost things in some areas of the cross, that by getting the ball low, much like you do in box, right? You want to get the ball low to the corner. Getting it low, it opens up all kinds of opportunities in transition back out front, because it forces the defense to turn around and play the ball.
Our game today is brought to you in part by 3D Lacrosse. With 15 markets across the United States, 3D Lacrosse is America's premier provider of lacrosse training and player development services, including box field hybrid training, select travel teams, team tournaments, recruiting showcases, leagues, and more. Visit 3dlacrosse.com today. Thank you to all of our sponsors who make this tournament possible, who make the game today, all the streaming of these games possible, and the tournament itself. And this is pretty exciting stuff to be here for the World Championships, and just kudos once again to what Israel has done, to what Netanya has done in 1 year to pull this off.
And that's the amazing. And Israel is, they've only had lacrosse for a few years.
Yeah, 7, 8 years.
Scott Neese has done an unbelievable job of getting lacrosse going here, and then taking the chance of saying, yes, we'll host this event when Manchester dropped out. And they're doing an excellent job. It's a very difficult thing to do, to manage this many teams, different languages, people coming from all over the place, and they've done an incredible job of really accommodating everybody and creating an event that I think is going to go down as one of the special ones.
Yeah, I think it really is. I mean, I've talked through the day with folks about, a couple of logistical hiccups that are going to happen in any big, massive event.
Unavoidable.
For over 1,000, we were talking about it today, over 1,000 players and coaches.
I've run much smaller tournaments, and there's always logistical, and you just go through them and deal with it. And the nice thing is that everyone's, taking the time to try to work things out when they do go wrong, and there's been no problems that caused any problems.
Nothing that can't be resolved.
Things. Right, absolutely.
Brian Silcott, the head coach of Team Scotland. Obviously, you're having a great time. You and your club here wearing the beautiful Scotland lacrosse shirt with the lion.
Still in the game
I don't know
uniform.
if you have a double XL sitting around that doesn't have anything to do.
Might have something for you. Probably won't be the polo, but I think we might have a T-shirt somewhere.
Okay, T-shirt would be okay. I like the polo.
And
that's fine.
it'll have the lion rampant on it.
Nice, nice. The lion rampant is fantastic.
It's all over the place.
So we've got a minute to go in the break between quarters, and with it 10-3, we talked about how, in the second half, you kind of expect Canada to find their game, start to push more, start to do a bit more, start to make more things happen. And I think the really impressive thing in that quarter was just how well England played. And England are kind of the ones that got better and better as they went. A couple of moments of brilliance from Canada, but overall, I think England really fought them well.
And Baxter had that one really nice save we talked about, but they relied less on him in that quarter than they did in the second.
True.
In the second, it was really Baxter that kept Canada from running away with it. Here, it was solid defense, the ball a little bit more at the other end of the field that made the difference.
So Jeff Snyder's going to come out, and we'll be ready for the face-off for the fourth quarter. And, of course, Tom Bracekirtle at the other end of the floor, on the other side of the circle, is doing a pretty good job himself battling with these guys.
And we're talking about this game as if somehow Canada isn't getting the job done. The reality is they're entering the fourth quarter up by 7 goals.
Yeah,
I think any coach in the world would take that in a world championship.
Not so bad.
No, against the number 5 team
in the world. Yeah.
USA and Canada.
But we all have high expectations for Canada. We expect greatness all the time because they have so many great players.
Big battle for this ball as it pops out of the circle, and Zach Currier, as he is wont to do, comes up with the ground ball. He'll trot over. Snyder making his way to the bench, and Jeff Westberg will come on for him.
And you can't understate the work that England has put into becoming a really good team under Tom Wenham's leadership, and they're showing it tonight that they're very capable.
Currier, little swim dodge, pushed away nicely there. Scarpello playing some defense.
He's a great defender. That's what he did for Rutgers. He was a shutdown defender with a short stick.
And he's just been impressive at both ends of the field here.
Yeah, he's one of the definitely the best athlete on the England team, and is up there with any athlete on the field.
Warding off called against Canada, so the ball will be turned over in England. Will Baxter will take possession. He's got some help there from Andrew Baxter. He's going to decide to skip that pass and go the long one over to Thomas Brook. Brook lobs it into space. I like seeing that pass sort of placed in. It's like putting it between the linebackers and the defensive backs.
The dead spot in the zone. Yeah.
You got to get the angle right, and the lob just placed correctly. But once it works, it looks so easy.
You sit in the zone, you cut against man-to-man, just like in football.
England moving around the perimeter. Moving back over to William Hardy. He's heading down past GLE with Latrell Harris on him. Scarpello back up to the offensive zone. Gives it to Huns. Big chop by Reese. Backing away is Giannis. He's got Graham Hossick on him. That shows you how fast Graham Hossick is, for one thing. He's staying with Jimmy Giannis.
Just
Man,
cruising along next to him, throwing checks.
Yeah.
Cruising along next to him, throwing back checks.
Because Giannis can go. Latrell Harris picks him up. He throws it up top to Alex Russell. Huns with the pass down to Russell. He'll have to go down to one knee to retrieve it. Giannis looking for a pass, but he's going to throw a little snap. Not even a slip pick. He stepped 3 steps away from him. Gets the shot off, but Ward saw that high to high all the way. Here comes Harris.
Harris showing the athleticism there, just accelerating away.
Yeah. And then just gets into glide and kicks into overdrive. And here's a chance for him. Oh, thought he was going to let one rip. Goes down the middle and does shoot. Thought he was going to just fire one with power. Instead, he pulls it down a little toe drag from the top and goes for the precision placement in closer.
He's an explosive athlete. You saw him do it at this end. He created a 5-yard gap with about 2 steps, and there just saw a big enough opening between those defenders and was gone.
That acceleration that you see from guys like Harris, from a Zach Currier, from some of these players. I mean, Jimmy Giannis with that acceleration as well to get going quickly. But that was such a, and the angle we're at was perfect to see Harris take off. It was a very visual reminder of how athletic that guy is.
And 2 guys had the chance to keep up with him, and neither one were up to the task.
Nice pickup by Bracegirdle. Stripping it, getting it from Withers, but then Withers strips him on the back check. Scooped up there by Matt Gilray. Ball goes back to England, though, as Ryan Huns will run away from some traffic. Settle things down. England completing a change. Zach Guy going for a bit of a run. Career cuts out and around the potential pick in William Hardy.
Canada has also done throughout this game an excellent job of, I think I mentioned earlier, picking their moments to pressure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're always back in. They're always ready.
A chance. Nice change of direction there. A great job by Zach Courier defensively. So that was a nice little move by William Hardy. But Courier just nullified it with his lateral quickness.
You see, as they feel the ball just being moved around the perimeter, they flow out and then they quickly collapse back in when there's any kind of threat to their goal.
Graham Hossack knocks Jimmy Giannis down. Now there's a flag coming. 2 flags coming. Oh, and there's another
There's
one.
the hat.
Yeah,
There's
that was
the hat.
Brody Merrill. Brody Merrill is such a classy guy and a real leader and ambassador for this game. But he's also ornery.
He's a veteran box lacrosse
Yeah.
player, and he doesn't like.
And now there's another one. As Merrill
And the
goes
official
over
doesn't
and-
know what to do. He has nothing
Yeah.
left to throw.
Yeah, he's thrown both flags and the hat, and Brody Merrill takes another one as Ryan Huns gets on him.
I think the initial penalty was on England, though. 'Cause I think when I don't know, whoever fell down, I think they actually got hit in the head when they fell down. I think was the initial penalty. And
Because Jimmy Giannis was running and he got knocked down by Graham Hossack, and I didn't think there was a penalty on
I
Hossack
think all three are
knocking
on,
him
all
down.
Three, all three are on Canada.
I don't know. I think there might be the first one may have been on England. Well, it was hard to tell because the ball popped out from
Yeah.
Giannis, and there wasn't really possession, so you can't automatically assume
Right.
who
right.
took it, right?
The official gets his clothing back on. What does go next? I think it's supposed to be the card that goes next.
Is it?
2 flags, hat, and I think the card is next.
Well, you got to be ready to go
Yeah,
for
and
the
then
card,
it's like
though.
the left shoe, right shoe, socks. I don't know. But actually, Ryan Wallace, an official here, and a good official, great guy, and a rules wizard, told me that the other day, that the card was the next thing
Oh,
to
nice. Did you think it was going to be relevant for you?
go. I don't know. I never thought about it that way.
Maybe like just so you know what they're
Just
going
so
to
you
do
know
when
what
this
they're
gets
gonna
worked
do.
out.
Yes.
They are sorting things out. So the scoring so far: Curtis Dixon with 3 goals and an assist, and Jeff Teat with 3 goals and 2 assists for Canada. Mark Matthews, who in a way has had a quiet game, he's got a goal and 4 assists. I mean, he is out there feeding. He hasn't
We
been
haven't
actually
talked
been on the
about
floor
him at all.
for a bit.
And
No,
he's an unbelievable talent. Unbelievable talent. Won the World Championship again this year, 2 out of the last 3 for the Rush. And Mark Matthews is the man that makes that offense go. He's watching him 2 years ago when they lost to Georgia in the finals. Him on the power play, he was absolutely unstoppable.
Yeah.
I mean, and no matter what you responded to, he would just take the other thing.
Yeah.
You pressure him a little bit, he'd skip it through. You left him off, he'd bury it right away. He was just an unbelievable talent.
a couple of goals also for Josh Byrne, and for England, we have Scarpello with 2 goals, and Ryan Sweetman adding the other. And the Sweetman goal was a beauty.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that
Really
one where he
was,
was coming
yeah.
in off the bench and they just hit him with speed.
And very decisive on it. You know, when we
Yes.
said there's been moments of being tentative. I think that's kind of gone away for England at this point. That was an earlier in the game when he just said, "I'm going to the cage."
Yes.
And buried it with a nice bounce shot that Teat couldn't get a hold of. And you mentioned that I think was it Giannis that delivered it to him. You know, well placed and in stride. So he
Yeah,
didn't,
just
he
let
didn't
him
have to
run
slow
onto
down
it.
at all.
Play will start with England. With 5 runners in the offensive zone. Canada has 4 out there, so there's a bunch of penalties. The Canadian bench over there, there's guys sitting, there's guys kneeling.
Yes, I think that's what I think. The initial penalty
Yeah.
was on England, and then
Yeah.
the other 2 were kind of letting them know they didn't like that the guy was fouled.
That was a response to Giannis being knocked down by Hossack, and then they felt he got hit while he was on the floor, on the ground, and decided to let them know that they didn't like what happened to him in the first place.
Yes.
You'll note Graham Hossick is out there for Canada. I mean, he didn't take one. That was a perfectly clean hit. He's just big and strong and has great footwork. England, quick movement around the outside, trying to get Canada going. Small opening, but they decide to wait for a bit better chance. That pass up top. That guy gets it back, goes back over to Huns, gets it back again. There's Huns. Great job getting out onto it by Reese. Oh, lower body save by Dylan Ward.
Dylan Ward just moving so well in the cage. A big man getting across the pipe. There was nothing to shoot at.
Flag is down. Jason Nobles passed to Cochran and went to his knees to get it. He's got a chance to shoot. There's a save by Baxter. He'll pull it down. And Dylan Ward is hopping on his heels and
But
trying to settle
talk
himself
about
back
room and
in.
time. I mean, that was all the room, and that was a pretty well-paced shot. But Dylan Ward just stepped across, and I mean, that was spectacular goalie play. It probably hurt a little bit, though.
I don't know how they do it.
I would never would.
No. But I think pretty much everyone up here in the booth is shaking their heads with us. How do you just stand there
the sound
and let people shoot that at you?
of the slash on the plastic. There's also a sound when you get hit with the ball like that.
Yes.
We heard it.
Those of us who play out and have played out are very thankful to you goalies
Yes.
for standing in there and taking that. Canada with possession. It's 5-on-5 in this end at the moment.
Go Courier.
Zach Courier with the ball, watched by Scarpello. Not a whole lot of movement, and now England's going to release someone back as the player comes in off the penalty, and they will go back to full 6 men in their zone. Canada gets their 6 out.
I think Canada just deciding it was easier to wait and not have guys flying back onto the field and play 6-on-6.
Yeah. Brody Merrill's still sitting on the chair in the penalty box, so we haven't got the penalties all updated on Point Bench, but that is where you can go, stats.pointbench.com. Keep track of everything that's going on.
I'm wondering why, if Brody's still in the box, Canada has 6
Everybody
guys
out?
at this end. That may be why they stopped
Yeah,
playing.
they just stopped playing. I think the officials and certainly England are wondering the same thing.
Brody could just be taking a break. He's a wily veteran, using that chair to his advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why this camera it makes my editing go 10 times faster because I only have things that release in the moment.
Picking up the camera.
We are picking up the camera, folk, chatting again.
Talking shop.
He's just there doing his job. He's just, filming, taking pictures. He's just, getting his, he is filming. He's got the video screen up on top of the SLR. That's a pretty highfalutin camera. That's
Yes,
a nice rig he's got. We're back underway, just over 12 minutes to play. And Canada is one short.
And they're coming back to try to kill the penalty, jogging all the way back. Something you can do in international play that you could not do in the NCAA. You're not allowed to go back over the midfield line, but in international it's perfectly legal.
That's a good job of being prepared, knowing the rules, knowing what you can do and what you can't do. Ward with a little pick. And here Graham Hossick goes running up over center. Those big strides. Oh, and a big hit. He is knocked down and then slashed in the back. And the first one, I think Peter Hayes was fine. He was not getting penalized for the initial hit.
It was the slash afterwards.
It was the slash in the back as he was laying down. And boy, I'm trying to think if I've ever seen Graham Hossick get knocked down before just by a body check.
Yeah, I think he got himself at an odd angle where he had nothing pushing back against the defender.
Yeah. So we are at 5-on-5.
And they'll have the power play in a moment.
There we go. It's released, and Wes Berg comes out as the 6th attacker. Got Dan Smith on him. A little faux pick by Cochran, and he retreats to the slot.
I think Cochran, was not on the man-up team, was looking to sub out and decided we don't have that much time.
Dixon can't quite handle that pass. It's going to roll all the way out of the end, and it will be England possession. Scarpello will go and take it.
Scarpello's going to try to run this ball out himself, I would imagine.
He's had himself quite a game.
Again, seeing the speed of Baxter.
Yeah. Honestly, reminds me of William Washi, a McGill Redmond goalie who had some terrific seasons. Oh, he goes down in the vicinity there of Jason Noble. I didn't see exactly what happened, but Baxter's not looking too happy as he heads. Oh, that's a tough one. You run all that way, you're tired, and then you take that shot, whatever it was, and then you have to go back to your net. Ball in the stick of Joshua Sherry Brennan. Up to Huns. Now it is, anyway.
And England remaining patient here, despite the lead that Canada has. Again, they're running their systems. They want to get better at what they do. They don't want to rush things.
We don't have a 2 on the on our roster for England. Is that Nick Watson up at the top?
I think it is Nick Watson.
Yeah, there we go. He's watched by Reese. They switch, and Courier takes him. Watson throws it low, but he won't get it back there. He'll go behind the net instead. Scarpello. Huns across to Sherry Brennan. There's Watson. Just under 9 minutes to play here in this England versus Canada game at the 2018 FIL World Championships. I'm Stephen Stamp with Brian Silcott. Thanks so much to everyone around the world watching and for chiming in and letting us know what you think and that you're enjoying the game. Glad you are. Pass right on the crease, spinning, shooting. Great play by Sherry Brennan. Beautiful little touch feed into him, and then he does the rest with a great footwork and great hands.
And a flag down. He managed to get to the middle of the field, which is something you want to keep Dodgers from doing, keep them down the alleys. He got to the middle of the field, forced the slide, and the fill man, the 2 slide came in, and he was able to find the guy down low for a fairly easy goal. But again, when Dylan Wart's in the net, I'm not going to say any of them are easy.
He stops a lot of shots that seem like they're easy goals,
Yes,
but
he does.
that time not the case, and a 4th goal for England, making it 11-4 with about 8.5 minutes left. We'll take the hydration timeout.
It's interesting. Did they make the call whether that was a minute or 30-second penalty, whether England may be coming back out with a man advantage?
Yeah, I didn't catch that one.
And the hydration break is interesting. It does change the game a little bit, particularly because it's a full 3 minutes, and they always take it. Timeouts often end very quickly because the team that calls it comes back
They're
out.
done. They're ready. You just bring them back.
They hold it for the full 3.5 minutes, whatever it is, which is a long time. I found out it's a long time. And often in our game, both teams were out ready to play.
Yeah.
But the idea is they want the players resting and hydrating and avoiding any kind of bad incidents of guys getting dehydrated, because you do. Even though it's cooled down here, it is still very humid.
Our game today is brought to you in part by 3D Lacrosse. With 15 markets across the United States, 3D Lacrosse is America's premier provider of lacrosse training and player development services, including box field hybrid training, select travel teams, team tournaments, recruiting showcases, leagues, and more. Visit 3dlacrosse.com today. Our game also brought to you in part from Epic Lacrosse, the leader in technologically advanced lacrosse equipment, who are proud to be the official head, shaft, glove, and arm protection of this 2018 FIL World Championships here in Netanya, Israel. Thank you to all the teams that trusted Epic for their gear needs. Epic Lacrosse, live, play, be. And thank you to everyone who is watching the game, joining us here on these webcasts. Really, really pleased to have you along. And I'm pleased to have you along, Brian Silcott, our first chance to work together, and I'm having a blast.
Absolutely enjoying it, Stephen. Yeah, we are watching great lacrosse, which makes it good. But it's always fun to hear you talk particularly about the Canadian players and your knowledge of the Canadian game and both the current and the history as well.
I spend a lot of time watching lacrosse.
Not a bad way to spend your time.
I know, right?
I think my wife feels I spend too much time watching lacrosse.
That actually makes me think I need to send a shout out to Carrie McMaster, my partner in business and in life. We have an environmental hair salon in Peterborough, Revive Hair Lounge. If you're around that area, go see us on 100th Street East. Great lounge. I probably just snuck in an illicit sponsor plug.
I unfortunately don't have any hair. So
I know. I'm looking at you thinking, we have beard oil too. But she is absolutely wonderful, supports me in whatever I do. She was saying before I came over, she's like, I don't want you to go to Israel. She's like, I do. She's like, I want you to do everything, follow your dreams, go and do this stuff. But, it takes me away. It takes me away doing something. I am planning to bring her along to trips. I've started a travel fund to take her to Prague next year.
Oh, cool.
For the Rubeski.
Very
so we're
nice.
going going to get her traveling and get her on some of these trips and get her to meet more of the wonderful lacrosse people. She's met some great folks in the game, and everyone's been so welcoming to her being around. And here's the pickup by Withers. He was looking to do the Jeff Snyder thing and go to the net, but he's going to pull it back and just hand it off. 8.5 minutes to go. I'm Steven Stamp with Brian Silcott. And this is the 2018 FIL World Lacrosse Championships here in Netanya, Israel. Mark Cockerton has the ball. Scarpello wound up face down on the turf, sprawled along there in the neighborhood of Josh Byrne.
Just fallen on a hard V cut, perhaps.
Yeah. This time of the game, you know, by the end of the day, you're getting a little tired, and it's always a little harder to get up. This takes a little more energy to pop back up off the ground.
And you can see Canada being very patient. I'm sure saving legs. They don't really need to do much.
Yeah, Zach Currier's just standing with the ball in his stick at midfield. Now he's going to head over and I think just leave the ball on the ground for Trey Leclerc, who's going to come in for him. He'll actually toss it up to him.
And their penalty releases now, so good.
Yeah.
Play. And
So
England, you know, not taking
in.
any chances extending, just letting them kill the penalty time.
7.5 minutes to go. 11-4 for Canada. Ball in the stick of Kevin Crowley. He's going to run into Scarpello. Hands him off to another D-Mitty. It's Brace Girdle getting out on him, and Brace Girdle's still there on Crowley.
It's hard to see sometimes on TV, but Kevin Crowley's a big guy.
He is. Goes to the net and has the ball stripped as he goes for the shot. Lovely pass by Dan Reed. Gets it ahead to Thomas Brook. Brook going for a run. Gets it across 3. Long poles in on it. And then the shot just not quite connecting as they get it over to Ryan Huns. Boy, that would have been pretty nice, actually, to see the 3 poles involved in that one.
Yeah, and a good opportunity. They ended up kind of in a flat break, so that, and the shooter ended up at a much lower angle than you'd want in that kind of 4-on-3, even 5-on-3 transition opportunity.
And I believe we do have a penalty to Canada. I think it was Crowley that took that one.
Canada's playing with 2 men down. Oh, here comes, they're missing one now. Okay.
Right.
They only have 1 penalty.
We just forgot to send out Zach Currier. He's out there now. Down low. Oh, nice low to high rip, but it goes off the post and comes bounding across to the far side. In England, great hustle from Sam Russell to maintain possession. He outruns Jason Noble there to get the ball back.
Good quick release there.
Zach Guy. Oh, fake to Huns. Comes near side instead and lets Sam Cook have a go at it. Sam Russell have a go at it. Cook to Guy. Over to Huns. Fakes. Gets the pass across and a quick rip, and that one won't be stopped. That's a lovely finish there.
Yeah, very nice.
Nick Watson.
We didn't talk about him much early on, but he a couple nice dodging attempts and buries that one.
Yeah, and the veteran 29-year-old Nick Watson.
Not a youngster, but not too old
He's
yet.
still sprightly.
Right in that sweet spot. 27, 28, 29 is a very good age to be
Right in
playing
the prime.
lacrosse.
So 11-5 with 4:45 to go. I'm Steven Stamp with Brian Silcott. This is the FIL World Championships 2018 here in Netanya, Israel. We're pushing 11 o'clock here in Netanya at this point. So I really appreciate you sticking around after your game. I know you're giving up some time here to come and be with me. I'm really enjoying calling it with you. Just want to say one more time.
This is the kind of things we need to do as lacrosse folks.
Oh, great chance from Cockerton. Not sure if that was off the stick of Baxter, off the crossbar. It really bounced up like it was probably the crossbar. Almost so looks like it was the throw that the stick had hit and bounced up.
And it was interesting. They had that collision behind the net that it should have either been interference or an illegal pick. I'm not sure. You could have called either one, but you need to call something there.
Lots more lacrosse action coming up this week, so make sure you stick around, keep watching. Jeff Teat throws it back down low. Cockerton switches sides over to Noble. Josh Burns started to do a breakdown dodge, and he throws it up top instead to Westberg. Canada's really slowing things down here. Dylan Ward heading to the bench, and Brennan Donville will come in as we change goalies on the fly. So Donville getting a little action. Pass in behind to Cockerton. Comes out to Berg, who's D'd up, and Byrne with the hard rip. That goes wide, and Cockerton will get possession of Canada back. Baxter jumps back into his net.
I mean, you talk about spacing so much, and the Canadians' hands are so good. They don't need much space to make those little passes when the
Big save, though, there by Will Baxter, as Cockerton ran himself into a bit of space that time. And Baxter, another big foot save. We've seen him kicking balls out all over the place, and it's going to be England possession.
I got to believe that there's going to be a lot of talk in the England locker room about how well their goaltender played and
Yes.
the outstanding job he did for his squad today.
Into the final 3 minutes of this Canada versus England matchup. Brace Girdle running it forward. Gets knocked over, but manages to get to Ryan Sweetman in time. Zach Guy.
Nice job by Sweetman there, kind of taking a shot in the back, but kept his balance and kept going.
Penalty coming to Canada, and boy, that flag flew a long way. It looked like one of those little tan birds with the black and white markings. And there's a shot from the outside, and a beauty by Ryan Huns. He goes with the bouncer down by the feet of Brennan Donville.
That's what we call smart shooting. I mean, he didn't shoot that all that hard, but got the stick to the right spot and really got that bounce. So they got the goaltender down on his knees and right back over with the bounce.
2:25 to go. We are in stop time in the final 3 minutes here of the fourth quarter. 11-6. England pulls a little closer.
I think it looked like, I would love to see that again, but it looked like he sold the down with his body too, right? His whole body was showing it down to get the goalie down, when he was bouncing it back up high.
Yeah.
That's something we all learned from the Canadians.
Withers and the long pole this time. They send Thomas Brook in for the faceoff. Withers comes out with it, pops it over to himself, heads into the net, switches lefty and scores. So Jake Withers, who's been in for, I'd say, around a third of the draws that Canada has taken here, or that have happened, that's a pretty sweet play.
That's it's impressive for an offensive midi, let alone your Fogo.
Yeah.
And really showing some acceleration there, too. Switches to the left hand and just fires it in the top corner.
And Jeff Snyder is stalking to the center dot, thinking,
ready to go.
Jake
Always
Withers
ready to
just
go.
scored a goal. I have to do something here. We'll see what he has up his sleeve as Brace Girdle comes back to battle him.
And I'm sure the England guys are saying we got to hold here, and by the time they decided to go, it was too late.
Yeah.
Withers was right down on the goalie and burying it.
12-6, Canada is up. I'm Steven Stamp with Brian Silcott. Extended battle here. You can see Brace Girdle just looking around, and Snyder's laser focused onto the ball and onto the connection there between the sticks. Oh, Brace Girdle, great move to pull it out and pop it to himself. That's a terrific win for him.
Yeah, Snyder was just hoping he could get back control. I think he knew he didn't have it.
Yeah.
And was just trying to delay that as long as possible, hoping something would change.
Yeah, didn't have the clamp he wanted for sure. High pass, but it's pulled down, and that's a hard rip by Huns. Drops himself to the ground. Ball goes out of play in behind. We're into the final 2 minutes.
And Huns, as we mentioned earlier, very left-handed player, very strong left hand, but he even was playing for a little while on the lower right, on the man up.
England moving it down the left side. Watson gets it back up top, and William Hardy will go immediately over to Guy. Quickly around and back to Watson. 360 degrees they've gone around. Tyson Bell takes a peek both ways. Bell kind of initiates the dodge there. That was interesting defending.
Good quickness.
Yeah.
He got to the middle of the field.
Yeah.
It was kind of a squared up angle by Bell. And allowed him to go to the middle of the field and get off a nice shot.
Watson gets underneath Hossack. He recovers. Going to try and meet him on the other side. And Watson will toss it back up top. We're in the final minute of play here. 12-6, Canada up. England with the ball down the stretch. Courier will go down and check Alex Russell behind the net. Oh, that one took a bit of a funny hop off of Brendan Donville. But it works out okay for Canada as they grab this. There's Rylan Rees, hands it off to Courier. Looks off the one player, hands it off to Jeremy Noble.
And clearly Canada not pushing things there.
Yeah,
I think
20 seconds left, up 12-6.
Yeah, I think if they were down a goal, there would have been a little bit different action going on that transition play.
Five seconds to go. Courier up to McKay. Back to Courier, and he will have the ball as the final horn sounds, making the score 12-6 for Canada over England. And Brian Silcott, obviously Canada, a powerful team, but a great performance by England, and that's some fun lacrosse.
Yeah, I say a really good performance by Canada as well. But I think England made a statement that they're a formidable opponent, and they're disciplined, well organized. They can put the ball in the back of the net, and did a pretty darn good job of defending an outstanding Canadian offense.
That'll wrap things up for this Friday here in Netanya, Israel at the 2018 FIL World Championships. I'm Steven Stamp on behalf of Brian Silcott. Thank you so much for being with us. There's lots more lacrosse coming this week. Make sure you keep coming back.